October, the leaves are falling, the chill is in the air. Unless you're in Louisiana, none of that's true because October is basically August weather. But it is October and everyone's getting excited. Halloween's coming up. Can we celebrate it as Christians? Let's pour some coffee on that. Hello, good people. It's Father Brad, and you're watching Coffee Talk, where we drink coffee and talk about Jesus. I promise there's coffee in there. So Halloween. Should Christians celebrate Halloween? Can Christians celebrate Halloween? Is it just a pagan ritual that opens us up to the demonic and bad evil spirits? Or is there a way that Christians can do this? The simple answer is, it depends. It depends on what you mean by celebrate Halloween. The ancient origins of Halloween started with a Celtic autumn festival called Samhain. I'm probably pronounced that wrong. If you're a Celt, if you speak Gaelic, just the next time you see me, tell me how to pronounce that. But Samhain, Celtic autumn festival. Now, the Celts had, their new year was November 1st. And so on October 31st, they thought that the spiritual realm and our realm right now were kind of blurred a little bit, and people were open to encounters with the spiritual realm, and there was all kind of pagan rituals that they performed, things like that. They dressed up in costumes and paraded around. And if you mean celebrate Halloween like that, like diving into Druidic priesthood pagan cults, then no, don't do that. Like, don't summon the dead, don't participate in necromancy. But as the Christians taught us throughout all of history, something can be taken, the good can be retained from it, and we baptize what's good. By the 8th century, Pope Gregory III, promulgated a new feast day. That feast day was All Saints. Now, obviously, this feast day was promulgated in order to celebrate in a prophetic way the New Orleans Saints 2009-2010 Super Bowl win. Who dat? Just joking. Actually, the Saints were named after the Feast of All Saints Day because they were started as a franchise on November 1st, the Feast of All Saints. By the turn of the first millennium, the church had promulgated All Souls Day on November 2nd. So we had All Saints Day, All Souls Day. They were taking the innate religiosity of the Celtic people and in using that, understanding that, rejoicing in that, and instead directing that religiosity into the true rites, true worship of God and these masses of all saints and all souls. And we do that all the time. We baptize what's good. So at this time in Northern Europe, instead of dressing up in order to perform pagan rituals, they would dress up in either mockery of evil spirits on October 31st, and mockery of evil spirits or of evil, or in a way doing something called memento mori. Now, memento mori is a Latin phrase. It means remember your death, that we're all going to die. And so we see this in Rome. There's a chapel in Rome that's covered with the skulls of friars. It sounds like a haunted house. Not really. It's a chapel, and it's memento mori. It's these friars line their chapel with the skulls of friars to remind themselves that one day they're going to die. Sometimes you see skulls in paintings and religious paintings, and it's not to be super macabre and over macabre and scary. It's to remind us that we're going to die. So in a sense, dressing up with, let's say, skeletons or other kind of things that remind us of death doesn't have to be pagan. It could be very Christian. We can recognize that we weren't made for death, but we must pass through death. And we need to remember that for our eternal life. So as a recap, we cannot perform pagan rituals. You cannot glorify an evil. You cannot disrespect the dignity of human life and especially of human sexuality. I'm looking at you, sexy devil costume. But you can use this time to catechize. You can use this time to remember that we weren't made for this world, that we will die one day, that people have gone before us, our ancestors, and that we should pray for their souls. And if they're before the Lord in heaven, that they'll pray for ours. That there is a beautiful, intimate connection between the afterlife and what we're living now. That we're surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, and this time of year, it's really awesome that we're able to look deeper into that, understand that mystery, and celebrate All Hallows Eve All Saints Day and All Souls Day.